All right, boys, it's time to do the headline recap. We're doing this one live as we always do. This one's probably gonna be pulled directly from the stream right over to YouTube, so no like separate recording, no waiting or anything along those lines. So hopefully this gets uploaded pretty quickly. That's kind of the mindset here. But it's weird. I didn't see anything crazy in the headline.
Of course, the roadmap.
But for some reason, like, I'm more reinvigorated to play PS2 than I have been in a very, very long time. Maybe it's because other things are chilling out a bit that I feel like I have more time, but like I kind of want to dive in and get a lot of stuff done. So I'm going to push right past the first thing they showed off, and we're going to go into what we have here. So first thing is obvious. New Super Genesis Festival second half is going to continue, is pretty much what we expected. The first few months of the year are going to be mostly Super Genesis Festival, from what I understand. So we have, them going through what's available here. Let's actually let this go back a little bit. So we can see, of course, the stuff we had here before, and then we have the later on stuff here as well. Cool arcs. I think that's supposed to say arcs. It looks kind of like it's supposed to say arcs, but like in a weird text sort of way. I'm not 100% sure. They show off the Legend 3 weapons and the upgrades if you want to go for that. They also have the Arachne weapons from Luther, 14 stars, pretty solid. The Belfry's armor, gather Fort Advance, so upgrading to the 14-star armors. Super Treasure Scratch will be ending. That one will be ending, starting up another Super Treasure Scratch with different stuff in it. Super Reward Box, also January 26th. We're also seeing, again, the 10-a-day free AC scratches. We knew these were coming. Where they're doing a free 10-a-day AC scratch, 100 draws total. Pretty dope stuff. We also have the Super Treasure Scratch. We saw that earlier. It shows off the camo, Soul Banish, and Scratch Count bonus. Pretty cool stuff there. New Year's login bonuses, including SG. Pretty standard stuff, right? Nothing too crazy here. Music disc, so on and so forth, right? I'm going to just skip ahead a little bit. There we go. And then we can see a better look at the actual necklace. We can see a Companion Glen, pretty dope here. It shows partial of the lineup being refreshed. I say a partial lineup refresh will be carried out on 1/7. And of course, Super Genesis gifts are going to be continuing to be handed out. Things like the Material Fort advances, plus the N Augmentation Transfer Pass vouchers. It seems like they're doing a little bit more to give us more Transfer Pass vouchers. I still think they need to, realistically, I feel like if you play consistently all the way across, you pick up every single voucher you can get, you should have enough to transfer a single weapon and 3 units every single cycle. That's how it should be set up. I don't think that's currently the case. I think it's a little bit behind. 1.5 times rewards for emptying out the box. This is going to be for, I think this is for, yeah, the reward box. Okay, I was like, I'm looking for where it says reward box. It says at the top because I'm silly. Reward box, pretty cool stuff. We have the end of the year AC Revival Scratch showing off a bunch of different outfits. I think this is coming, the Heretic Morte is coming back as an NGS variant. I love this camo. This was one of my favorite camos of all time. It's a really, really cool TMG camo that has like little blades on the bottom. It's a pretty solid Soaring Blade camo. It's actually a really solid Wire Lance camo as well. So very much a fan of that camo. It's coming back an NGS variant. We also have the Super Genesis Festival second half showing off like the decorations. We have Zia Andy and her solo. I don't even know what that's supposed to say, and I'm not going to. I'm going to just pass right on by that. Midwinter year attire for the region mags, traditional items, stuff in the seasonal points exchange shop, so on and so forth. Raggle Rappies are sticking around for the moment being. Dude, you know what they need to provide creators is a list of all the slides, dude. That's what they need to give us. All right, so one I'm sure that's going to be pretty divisive is the New Year's Yurze Augment Select 26. So these are going to include the Yurze class augments, which are going to be a superior version of the Lars class augments. We kind of expected this. This is pretty standard par for the course. A lot of people weren't the biggest fans of is we also have the A-type EX augments. They'll have stronger effects than standard EX augment combinations. Only one type of EX augments can be affixed and only to weapons. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be something that we want to kind of take a look at here. These are stronger than the standard EX augments. You only have one. This only comes from this scratch itself. It looks like it's not going to be a scratch count bonus thing, therefore it's not fully required that you spend money to get this augment, but it's likely going to cost you quite a bit when it comes to Meseta. You're looking at, overall, your weapons are going to take 2 of the augment capsules, right? So Yurze class and as well as the Roddy class, right? Each of your units are going to take each one or 2 of those, and then your weapon is going to have 1 extra one here. So as annoying as this isn't actually that big of a deal. Like, this is kind of one of those like, oh, this really sucks. But realistically speaking, what this actually means is any good 2 augment combination, which there are a lot of those, can be then pushed over or pushed up by doing something like throwing grad pressing A on it, which likely won't be super expensive because this is one that's very niche for certain people. Tech arts, PP suppress A, also very niche, not gonna really be used all that much. Heavy and light attack really just aren't used at all. So there's going to be a way to take really good 2 augment combinations and slap on a third that's just going to be power no matter what the situation is. So this likely could turn some 2 augment combinations that are very cheap into very good combinations depending upon how players actually price these. A lot of people usually get really butthurt over these augment classes, but the reality is most of them are very cheap. It's only the hyper high-end expensive ones that really tend to suck. So those of you guys who are going to be going for turnover, risky stance, maintain balance, shortage PP, even maybe critical enliven, like that's going to be a pretty rough place to be in. Thank God it is only a weapon because EXs aren't on units. So it's 1 augment. Sucks, but realistically speaking, it's not a separate scratch. So they're not, bunging up the scratches by making you spend money on a different spot itself. And again, it's also something that can be purchased from the marketplace. So while it is pay to win in a sense, pay to win is a barometer. It's a spectrum on how hard this sort of situation is. It is going to be stronger, yes, but it actually is going to have more repercussions and actually more use cases than most people are realizing at the moment. So I'm cautiously optimistic. It all depends on how things are priced and how players are pricing them. So because as annoying as this is, the reality with the cost of the current augments is this could be cheaper than actual augments themselves. Like unironically, it could be cheaper now to get a good EX augment combination of getting 2 and slapping on an EX turnover or one of those instead than getting the perfect 3 augment combination, because the perfect 3 augment combination can be very, very, very expensive. I'm talking upwards of like 20 to 25 mil to 30 mil in some situations, depending upon how long it's been since that augment combination has come out and how much you care about the suffixes. These are all suffix A. So yeah, kind of good stuff there. Also, it's guaranteed HP PP. So I guess, is this just the X variant? Yeah, this is just the X variant. It's HP PP, right? HP PP, so it's 25 and 3. Okay. I expect grad pressing to be the cheapest. I expect light attack and heavy attack to be the cheapest. I expect these two to be like, if you want to make a good 2 augment combination good, pick up either light or heavy attack. Probably heavy attack, to be honest. That's going to take the 2 augment combination. Yeah, tech arts as well. Tech arts is actually a good one. Bouncer can actually use tech arts pretty decently for PP economy, which is actually pretty nice. AC and SG revival scratch tickets. So I don't really know what to tell you about these. They're revival scratches. Cool. Like, there's really not much I can tell you about these. Not really all that crazy. They're scratch tickets. The altered battle line Tundra Gauge Area Gorge is coming to, wait, hold on. Altered battle line Tundra Area Gorge is coming to Altered Realm Exploration combat sectors. Activate PSC burst by defeating powerful high-end enemies. Oh, they're doing the Gorge? The Gorge is going to be the area? That's interesting. Ah, okay. Okay. New trials, enemy zones, that's fine. Two new player ability buffs. Sidestep dodges trigger powerful effects. New ability buffs trigger additional attack with sidestep and then trigger additional potency boost with sidestep. How many times are we gonna? Okay, so who's the dev that plays as an address user? This is more address propaganda. This is more address propaganda. It's just address propaganda again. This is more address propaganda. It doesn't matter what happens. They're like more address propaganda. Trigger additional attack on sidestep and then trigger a counter / potency boost with sidestep. It's just address propaganda. Because I guarantee you this is going to trigger when you use weapon action for the thing as well. Like, I promise you it's going to happen. It's going to happen. The weapon action specialized sidestep, dude, it's going to happen. Watch. More address propaganda. Upgrade 13-star Forsha armors to 14-star armors. Choose Belfast armor with higher HP PP or Belfast VO with no HP boost but higher PP boost. So this time around, they're choosing to do HP PP or just the PP boost. So it's up to you which one you want to go for. Last time it was just HP or HP PP. This time it's just PP or HP PP. So you'll have to see how that goes. Can someone check on this for me? I don't remember if it is or isn't. I haven't checked the armor since I'm not using the Forsha armor. Is Forsha armor 7.5% or 7% bonus? Is this actually increasing it to 8 or is it already an 8% bonus? I forget because I haven't looked at the armor since I'm not upgrading my armor in a while. If this is already an 8% bonus, this is fine. If this is going up from 7 to 7.5, ouch. This is going to give a pretty massive jump. which might make it worth actually redoing your armor from scratch, depending upon the difference between your armor sets. This is rough, but we'll see. You'll need Fort Advance to upgrade, which you get in Altered Battle Line Tundra. So farm your Fort Advances, you'll get them in the Tundra area. So pretty standard. Fort 7.5. Okay, so it's and the previous variant of our armor right now is what, 6.5? So that's a 1.5 bonus per armor. That's pretty substantial. That is pretty substantial. Yeah, we'll have to see. If they release the new LC units or this new LC augments, then re-augmenting with LCs and fitting in a couple others is actually not a bad play. And then of course what I figured was going to be the case, and I'm really happy this is the case, though this isn't making me too happy because that means that some people are going to miss out, but we'll have to see how that goes. Trigger quest version of the urgent quest Luther Emergent Created Conqueror will have triggers that come from the treasure shop, the Enmaseta treasure shop. So when this comes around, basically buy your triggers every day. Buy your triggers every day from the Enmaseta shop to make sure you have a good stock of them, because we don't know when they're going to come back around. We don't know how long they're going to be around for. There's probably going to be a good stock of them on the market and things like that, but we're going to want to farm out Luther as much as possible to get those 14-star weapons, to work towards those armor, so on and so forth. So go ahead and make sure that you are getting a decent stock of those. New mission pass. Said it before and I'll say it again. Need to give more they need to give more shop tickets to people. Just change how the way shop works, man. Just change how the way shop works. S-School is 7. Okay, well that's not bad actually then. So if we're going from 7 to 8, that's not terrible. That's only a 3% increase, so I can live with that. Free to play needs more access to the shop. One shop pass isn't enough. Said it like 1,000 times at this point. Won't beat a dead horse any further. Modish winter outfits. These are pretty cool. If you can toggle off these shoes and this jacket, this is going to be one of the best best base wears in a long time. But I guarantee you what's going to happen is you'll toggle off like the straps or something, and then like maybe the shoes or maybe the jacket. It won't be like the jacket and the shoes. They'll probably have you toggle the straps or something like that. Virgin Killer sweater with the deepest VI I've seen in a very long time. This coat is like okay-ish. Like it's eh. We'll have to see. Photo posing. There's a lot of really good idols here. The motion idols. There's a lot of really good ones. Signature pose 6. There's signature poses. There's a couple signature poses. Pretty good. The stretching one is pretty dope. Yui adorably in this outfit again. And then we have the AC Scratch PSO2NGS Weaponoid style. Now this is pretty huge. This is the first time we've seen this, and they mentioned that they were going to do this for a while. So we've got the Weaponoids from PSO2NGS, and if you're curious of what that is or how that works, essentially there was a mobile version of Phantasy Star Online 2, which is PSO2NGS, where the chips that you used were weapons from the game itself, but they were personified as characters. So each weapon is personified as a character. For example, the Demonia Saber, this is the outfit or the character of the Demonia Saber personified as a character, as opposed to like this camo that's usually here. So pretty cool stuff. Love to see it. Also, chat, I'm going to snooze this really quick. There we go. But yeah, so pretty cool stuff. Love to see it. Now, the big thing and kind of the huge thing here that's about this setup is they're including motion idle for sword. But the big thing here is I'm gonna zoom in on this. It also includes the weapon you have equipped. This is the first idle we've had that's a weapon idle that includes your equipped weapon. So this will reflect whatever weapon you have equipped. So it'll reflect the sword that you have equipped, which is pretty cool. And this is in the idle, the dash, the glide, the run, all of this. It's reflected in the actual weapon that's equipped. So this is going to be probably a new thing they start doing with idols in general. Maybe they update the old idols to do this. I know some people are going to be really kind of like a little peeved if they don't do that. We'll have to see how that goes. Hold on a second, chat. I got my alarm. It's my wake up in the morning alarm. Apologies, but oh, it just turned off my watch. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, this is going to be probably a new wave of how they do weapon idols, which is really cool. I love seeing that. Hopefully they just update the old idols and they don't remake all of the idols that people have to go after and get again, because that's going to be really frustrating for a lot of people. I'm well aware. But fingers crossed that's what you guys end up getting, because that would be way better. We also have a new limited quest, which is what we expected. Limited quest is going to have the Ardent Dread Keeper stuff in it. So Ardent Dread Keeper is the next thing. So if you want to stock up early, it is 10 per, meaning you probably want to get about 40 of each of them if you want to have good stocks to make your own. Some people like to over purchase and then of course sell them when the actual when everything overinflates in price, which is probably overinflating in price as we speak right now in the market, as people are going to be buying them all up and then trying to resell them later to people at a higher price. This is usually the time frame you want to sell them because the prices are going to plummet pretty extensively, as these will likely drop from this, and you're going to need to farm this to get the final thing you need, which is the Unitarity or whatever the heck it's called. You need 50 of them anyway. So if you're looking at a weapon and 3 units, you're looking at a total of about 200. And 40, of course, of the Grand Dread Keepers and the Magistrate Keepers, which you can get quite a bit of these from currently farming right now, so not that big a deal. It looks like Ardent Dread Keeper is 3.75 with 7% potency floor, 50 HP and 5 PP and 1% damage resistance. Doesn't seem all that powerful. Like, it's pretty solid, all things considered. It is an upgrade, but I'm not sure how it's going to fare in the face of the other current augments that are currently available. They're going to remake them. I wouldn't guarantee they're going to remake them. They've gone back and updated things like that beforehand. They likely could do it again, so we'll have to see how that goes. And then Revival AC Scratch for PSO2 memories. The usual, it happens on the 21st. They have the 1st, they have the 21st. This one's the 21st since it's base PSO2 stuff. So they're bringing back a bunch of things. Virgin Killer Sweater for the Type 1 dudes. By the way, this is the usual Virgin Killer Sweater. That's why I said the Deep V Virgin Killer Sweater is like the Virgin Destroyer. So yeah, good stuff there. We also have an SG support item select. Pretty standard. Every single time a new weapon comes out, every single time new units come out, we get the AC, we get the SG. Likely during the next headline, they'll announce the other AC support scratch. It likely will be upgrading what we had previously, so Roddy might get phased out as well. We might see a B variant of the EX augment stuff. There might be an A and a B variant, who knows? Just be prepared for that concept being a possibility. I'm not guaranteeing that's going to be the thing. That is a possibility itself. The biggest thing we want to focus on is hopefully they're still within the same just 2 AC or the 2 AC scratches and no more than that itself. As long as it's within those and those always have value, then hey, more power to giving value to people who are putting money into the game itself. I'm always going to be behind that. And then we have the operation report, which I'm going to let the operation report actually rock. Usually I don't play these in these videos, but I feel like the operation report is actually pretty important to let go through. So we're going to let this one rock all the way through. You guys can check it out.
Video message, so let's take a look.
Hello to all the ARCs out there. Hamazaki here. I'm the series director of Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. I hope everyone is enjoying the Super Genesis Festival that began on December 3rd. PSO has reached its 25th anniversary and NGS its 4.5-year anniversary. We couldn't have made it here without our ARCs. So in this episode, I'd like to talk about our roadmap for 2026.
So I didn't even realize the roadmap was happening here.
Ultra PSO2 Day in February.
But the big thing to notice is like the biggest stuff seems to be in April.
Will soon kick off.
And Neon City is a little ways away, man.
Free SG scratch ticket and free AC scratch ticket.
January's looking to be a little light.
Fantastic items added to the lineup. Even outside of the anniversary event period, we have prepared many additional updates to celebrate the 5th anniversary.
There's some obvious bosses you guys have seen beforehand.
And a brand new song from Halfa's top.
This silhouette's pretty interesting. We'll see it in just a
We
moment.
hope you'll enjoy NGS throughout the entire year. Furthermore, we will be releasing a new field update.
So they go through each individual thing. I'm going to go through it here with you guys, and then we're going to play the other video they show off. Because the video, I can't even bring into words of exactly what's going on in it, because it's actually pretty cool. The LTQ is not a board race. No, the LTQ is, I guess I didn't really explain it that much. LTQ was 3 lanes of fighting enemies. The more enemies you guys kill, the more it weakens the boss at the very end. So it's 3 groups of 4 that are all fighting in a line of enemies they're trying to go through to get to the very, very end, and then fight the boss at the end. But yeah, anyway, so the roadmap itself, we have 5th anniversary, of course, new field update, Neon City. Kind of sucks to see that happening in February. Would like to have seen that happen in January, but it is what it is. Actually, not a bad thing, because my January is kind of busy, so I'm actually kind of lucky that it's happening in February. Limited quest, pretty standard. Limited time urgents, pretty standard. Usual stuff. New enemies, probably with Neon City is what my guess is. A new scratch ticket, pretty standard. Plastic model series collab. They show this off later, so nothing crazy here. And then of course, 5th anniversary for Super Origin Festival. It's always weird that they do these the way that they do them, because like it always feels like there is some form of anniversary going on. The half-year anniversary and then the year anniversary. It's very standard for Eastern game companies that they do this sort of thing with their games. I've always been the annual type of person, but you're looking at the annual and then like the semi-annual or the half-annual or whatever it's called. So they do these both. It's very common. I don't know. Anyway, in April, new story quest. So new story quest coming in April. That's a good ways away. I would have liked to see this in February, but April's a little rough. Like I said, the stuff that they showed here, really cool. The timing feels a little long, but that just means that they're going to have to really crush with this. And what I've seen of this so far is actually pretty gas. Limited time alter realm, combat sectors, limited time quests. I mean, LTQs are pretty standard. Even putting them in here just let you know that they're going to happen. I wouldn't worry too much about a limited time urgent quest, pretty standard. A new high difficulty quest, dope. So probably new 4-man. I'm guessing 4-man high difficulty Luther is what's going to happen here. That's my guess for that, but we'll have to see. Slayer updates are coming. I know some people were like, oh my God, Slayer updates got delayed. Now, I really feel like this technically was delayed in a sense because you saw previously it said February onwards with Slayer updates. Technically, April is the onwards portion of February. So in a sense, you could say technically Slayer got delayed by a month, but the roadmap wasn't wrong. It just was February onwards. We just assumed it was February itself, but it always was in the February onwards section. So Slayer update's going to happen April to May, hopefully in April. Get you guys the Slayer updates. As people have asked, like, what about Bouncer and other classes themselves? Just so people are on the same page about how this worked out or how this all happened to begin with. Bouncer was the very first class to get they got a renewal. Renewal was very different than an update itself. A lot of things changed, a lot of things got reworked, a lot of things got changed around. Now, I know Jet Boots isn't in the best place it has been in a long time. It's better now with some of the changes that happened with some of the weapons and some of the EX styles and things like that they added to the game and the characters. But I know some Jet Boots players that are looking to see Bouncer get some more tweaking, similar to the class updates. If there were a chance for us to get any sort of tweaking similar to the class updates, now after Slayer has had its update, is a fair time to like assume that might happen because we've the furthest away from any changes to our class since all of the character or the class updates have happened, because it was us first and then every other class in the game, and now it's wrapped back around. With Slayer, it finishes every single class. So possibility, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but now it's reasonable to start asking those questions. New enemies, new large boss enemies, standard stuff. New free SG scratch items, main story chapter 8, which you already know that. It says new main story at the top here. So main story chapter 8, which is looking to be pretty interesting. Series collab, pretty cool stuff here. June, July, new field update, limited time urgent quests, new high difficulty quest incoming. So another new high difficulty quest. Most people who've played base PS2 know who this boss is. I don't remember his name, but we should know who this boss is itself. Class level cap raised to 120. New enemies, obviously. New large boss enemy, obviously. New Tech Arts customizations. Now, this is interesting. They said new Tech Arts customizations here, but later on during this, they said new Tech Arts customizations here as well. And they mentioned that specifically after this, every single PA is going to have their Tech Arts customizations. Was it Zest Rider or something like that? Yeah, something like that. They said all PAs will have their Tech Arts customizations. So I'm wondering what's getting Tech Arts customizations here that isn't covering everything. So I'm curious. We'll have to see how that goes. New free SG scratch items, SEGA IP collab, and new content using Creative Space. So they're going to be doing an implementation of a new style of content with Creative Spaces as like a test trial, like a trial thing or whatever. They've given us no information about what that is. Literally no information on what that is at all. So we'll have to see what that is. Bet Wand got shafted again. The Wand users. We'll see. That's not saying anything against Wand users. It's always funny when people are saying their class gets shafted, but they have access to more customization things that any other class does in the game. Basically, tech users in general don't just have their PAs. They have their PAs plus all of the techs as well. So things can possibly change no matter how you're looking at it. But does it change always all the time? No, not all the time. But it can, because you have the most possibility. August. So August we have the PSO2 14th anniversary Super Festival. Also have new stories. So there's going to be April to August. Looks like it's not terribly long, but it was a little gap between storyline stuff. Hopefully they have learned, and the smaller stories are going to be more impactful and have a little bit more going on for them. That way they can bridge the gap between the two. August is a ways off. Between April to August, not really. Let's see. And I don't want to get story updates every single month if they're going to be half-assed story updates. I'd rather get like really impactful story updates every couple of months as opposed to like something I don't care about that's done in like an hour. So this is perfectly fine. Assuming again the smaller stories in between become more impactful and more interesting. We'll have to see how that goes. They've been going in the right direction. The first couple were kind of eh. The next ones afterwards kind of better. I haven't done the most recent ones, so we'll have to see when we get a chance to sit down and do those. But yeah, so we see new story quests, limited time urgent quests, new enemies. We can see that right here, by the way. I don't remember the name of this enemy, but I do know the enemy itself. I mean, it looks similar. I don't think it's exactly the same enemy, but it looks similar to them. EX style level cap raise. So EX styles are going to go higher level. I'm assuming probably like level 50 or something like that. That's my guess. Is Anga was the name? I hear Anga. My first thought process is Anga Jabroga from PSU. It was an Axe PA. So sorry. Anyway, either way. So we have new EX style level cap raise, meaning that new or EX style is probably going to get more skills. That's pretty dope. New scratch ticket campaign, new AC free scratch items, and chapter story level 5 or level 9. So cool stuff there. And then October onwards. Keep in mind, October onwards. Now we know this for a fact. Can mean October, November, December, January. It can mean a couple of months. So don't look at this thinking like this is specifically slated for October. This is likely going to be October and then some later on. And they also mentioned during this when they were talking about it, there are things that are not included in this roadmap. They're specifying this now a lot more, where they didn't specify it beforehand, but we knew kind of was the case. But there are things that are going to be added in here that are not in the roadmap, probably waiting for finalization of where it's going to be put, making sure that's actually be able to deliver it at that time frame, because if you move something that's in the roadmap, people will notice and they are going to get upset. But anyway, so we have new quest content and new field update. So they mentioned there's going to be a new type of difficult quest. They mentioned like a new type of high difficulty quest. I usually say high difficulty with quotations because what may seem high difficulty to some really is just difficult quest to others. So I say high difficulty in quotations. But new type of quest is on the way as well. New tech arts customizations. This is where they're saying everything is going to have tech arts customizations by this point. A new item system. So there's supposed to be some new form of item system. So similar to like when they added new rings, there's supposed to be something else new that they're adding in as well. We'll see how that goes. New rarity equipment. They specifically mentioned 15-star weapons. So if you're like, I'm going to get the 14-star, how long is it going to last? October onwards, 15-star. So just keep that in mind. They're now basically laying out the entire time frame for you of how long this weapon is going to be useful for you. And likely it'll still be useful for quite some time. Just keep that in mind as far as what we're looking at here. And then new enemies, and then there's nothing else listed here. So pretty solid roadmap. Overall, I do like what I've seen so far. I do want to see more, so I'm looking to see what the stuff is in between. As some of you guys are looking at the silhouette like, who the heck is this? Don't worry, you'll find out soon. So then they show us this, which is pretty interesting.
We'll finally get to enjoy the long-awaited new story. But first, take a look at this.
We lost contact with the research team a few hours ago. The very last communication we received from them simply stated, something's off about this place.
What are you doing? We're all ARCs here, aren't we?
I've been thinking. This desert looks an awful lot like Ritem the whole time we've been here.
Who are you anyway? Hopefully you're not going to attack me for no reason like they did. Are you the one who killed the entire research team? But why?
Wait. There's no way.
Hold.
As your reward for making it this far, I suppose I'm obligated to show you the truth.
How was it?
Yeah, I don't know who that voice is. Not sure who that voice is, but there are some interesting implications here. Lore. Interesting lore. Lore. Evil Crawford? Maybe the real Crawford and we're on the evil side? Who knows? Who knows? Same VA at least. That sounded like a Lutherized Crawford, I'm gonna be real with you. That sounded what Luther sounded like after he started like falling into like just despair. and said screw everything. But pretty cool stuff for the roadmap. I'm actually pretty excited to see what's going on for the roadmap. And then operation report questions as usual. In the salon, each item selection includes sorts and filter options, but closing the window resets these settings, making it cumbersome when you need to go back and forth editing multiple items. Would it be possible to keep the sort and filter settings? I'll be honest, I have no idea what they said here.
Some when you need to go back and forth editing multiple items. Here is the response. We are planning a change to retain the filter settings for each item in the salon, even after closing the form.
Okay, cool. The answer was yes. All right, I didn't even remember what they said here. Among ingredient effects, quick food, the potency up effect of meat is so strong that it has become effectively essential. Are there any plans to make improvements to help correct our skewed eating habits? TLDR, meat is like the most important thing. You have to have it. Eating 10 meat is like max potency, blah, 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 right? The response is they're reducing it to 5. You'll get the max effect by eating 5. So food is actually technically getting a buff in a sense. You need less of the good foods and you'll be able to get more of the positive bonuses. So like you could do like 5 meats and then like 5 HP, and then it'll be as if you ate 10 meats and 10 HP, which is kind of cool. This doesn't fix the acquisition issue that I have. My problem is that we're just not getting enough of it. We have to go out of our way to go get it, which is a pain in the ass. But it doesn't mean you will use less of them. And then satellite info, bargains in the AC shop. They mentioned that the NGS web store exists. You can go to the website to get it. Bargains directly there. And the PS4 version cannot use the AC that's purchased from the web store. Keep that in mind. And they show off, where it is. There's the button, buy AC. Here's all the details and all the cool stuff. Yay, we love to see it. Then they're showing off the Hexa device new collab that's incoming. Top 3, looking pog. Bottom 2, I'm reporting you to Crawford. Just so you're aware. And then they're showing off the figurines that they're making in oh, I don't know the word. These are figurines. These are figurines. These are when they're coming out, by the way. So if you're a figurine individual, you purchase either you live in Japan or you purchase from overseas. Here are the actual models. Here are the actual price points. Some of these are pre-painted. Some of them are not. Looks like the last 2 are pre-painted. I don't think this one is actually pre-painted. You might have to paint this one yourself. It just says plastic model kit. Maybe it's just a plastic model kit that is already. Nah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know why they would specify these 2 are pre-painted and this one doesn't specify at all. Maybe you have to paint it yourself. But the price difference definitely shows. You're looking at 13K, including tax. 13K. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So 13,000 yen, 27,000 yen, and 29,000 yen. Pretty expensive. And we've got more figurines showing off some more stuff here. Pretty cool. More figurines, more pricing. And that was it. And then they talked about how Luther's attacks come from Ogoflow and Original Falls. How they brought Luther in. Honestly, really, really good fight. I'm really, 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 really happy what they did with Luther. Luther was a really, really good fight overall. Basically, if they do that with any fights they bring back from base PSO2, and they just, because essentially Luther is just base PSO2 Luther with a bunch of new stuff. Because honestly, base PS2 Luther kind of worked in this fight anyway. It doesn't feel that different than when I fought him back in base PSO2. Like, he feels mostly the same. The only difference is I can kind of chase him with like the step counter thing situation a lot better, which I'm sure heroes did anyway all the time. But like it's really good. I like it a lot. Very, very cool attack. Talk about the Ogoflow attacks. I mean, they use the old animate. If you're someone who played the original PSO and you recognize the sound effects, they even specify they use the old sound effects from Ogoflow and from Falls attacks. So pretty cool stuff there. That's pretty much it. That's the entire overview. Nothing too crazy. The only issue I have is time. Like, exciting stuff doesn't happen until like April, right? And we have April all the way to October. We do get Neon City in February, which is cool. But I would have liked to see Neon City like in January and this start in February, as opposed to like, Neon City's in February and this starts in April. This is a good times away. It does work out for me because I have other things to do, but people who are really, really excited to play a lot of PSO2, who really want to put their time into PSO2, they got a little bit of waiting to do. Granted, it gives you some time to farm, so you got some farm time. But we'll have to see how things go. Neon City is going to be a pretty cool zone, so I'm excited to see that. As far as storyline implications, I'm like cautiously optimistic about the story stuff because a lot of what we're seeing is just the zones we've been in already, but it's now people are actually interacting with it, right? Like we're coming across other individuals. To me, what this is starting to seem like is we're just looking at Starless World version of Halpha, more or less, right? Like they're like, oh, this looks a lot like Retem. I mean, we're going to areas that we've been to before, but like Starless-ized almost in a sense. So what we might find out is that like there's an entire separate universe that is on the opposite side that is just us but flipped. Which, to be fair, is how we ended up with things like Masquerade, how we had, you know, all of Chapter 5 of base PSO2 with different versions of characters and things like that. So maybe, you know, Evil Crawford has been dealing with the Starless. Maybe he's working with them. Maybe they're the reason they're being sent over here, right? Like, we'll have to see how that works out. But for those of you guys who are looking forward to just leaving Halpha behind completely, I highly doubt that's ever going to happen, to be honest. I think things are going to be centralized around Halpha for quite a bit. And they're just going to grow upon that itself, because I was thinking about how you would leave Halpha behind, like, without just getting rid of the story, but it would be so insanely disassociated or removed from like the players as they're going through to play the game. Like for us at max level would be fine. For someone new that's coming into the game and they're like, yo, where the heck are you guys? It would be like a barren wasteland. So I'm not sure how they would do that and be okay. But I would probably look into seeing more things like this being added in. And my guess is that we're probably gonna have more things happening around the outer space around Halpha and things like that. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what they decide to do with it. We'll see if they cooked and if they didn't. If they cooked, you know, we'll praise it then, and if they didn't, you know, we'll scrutinize it when it comes out. But I'll wait until it actually releases so I can give my final opinions on that. But it is a lot of what I kind of expected. The new character looks cool though. She looks sick. I'm trying to figure out like who is she similar to, because it looks like she's trying to like they're trying to do this whole like alternate look sort of thing. And then she even says like, hopefully you're not going to attack me for no reason like they did. So we'll see. Is she talking about the what's it called? The research team? Is she talking about someone else? Who knows? That's it, boys. That's all I have for the recap. If there's anything I missed, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe to keep up with more, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, my friends. Peace out.